wait a minute. That's sick. So hello gamers and welcome back to another video. Now Phantom Forces just got a absolutely massive update with tons of movement changes, sniper buffs, stuff like that. And a lot of guns are really OP. I'm not gonna lie. Like the M107 is super OP. I'll talk about the keybinds and the damage numbers and the movement at the very end. So make sure to stick around until the end when I talk about those. But the first thing, HK416 now has better recoil. Is it good? Not really, because the AK-107 is better. But yeah, the HK416 got a bump, which is really interesting. The next change is for, as you can see, there's a lot of changes here, but the first one is for the MP5K, which now has only 32 damage instead of 34. The MP5K is no longer a 3-hit kill. That's right, the MP5K is back to being, I mean, it's still pretty good, but like can't 3-hit. So it's not gonna be a super meta or anything. It's unfortunate. I don't think this was really necessary. I feel like you could have nerfed the 3-hit kill range, but removing the 3-hit is kind of unfortunate. I feel like this gun could have had a slight 3-hit kill. This is kind of a net nerf to the MP5K, which is really sad because before it wasn't that good. It's still going to be all right, but however, the 10mm conversion has a slight torso multiplier but lower damage. But if you're running the burst conversion and 10mm, you can still 2-hit kill to the torso, which is not too bad, but it used to be a 1 torso and 1 limb combo. And yeah, overall, this is a pretty big nerf. I'd say 10mm is actually still really solid because the damage is still 44 with the torso multi, but I would not say that this is going to be make or break like super meta gun anymore. Unfortunate. There were literally better SMGs anyway. This was probably like number 5, but all of those have also been nerfed. Yeah, there's some pretty big changes to the meta this update. The UMP45, which sadly got a huge nerf. So the damage itself isn't changed. However, it has much reduced range, walk speed, aim walk speed, equip speed, and it now has a lower torso multiplier. So if you were thinking, okay, I can still 2-hit kill people because the damage is the same, it's just less range. No, you can't 2-hit kill people to the body. It'll round up and it will say it's 50, but it's actually 49.5. Just the damage numbers that show up, they actually round up. You can hit somebody for 50, but it's not actually 50. It's 49.5, which this game doesn't have damage rounding. So yeah, it's still not going to 2-hit, which is really unfortunate for this gun. And over, yeah, I just hit him 53 times. Now you can run 45 super and still get that 2-hit kill to the torso. So that's going to be the new meta for this, but it's still going to have much worse range and walk speed and stuff. So overall, I wouldn't say this gun is super terrible, but it's not really going to be that good without 45 super. But next up, we have the MP7. Now, the MP7 was an amazing gun last update, and now it basically just has higher recoil. This shouldn't really be a huge problem on it, but yeah, you're not going to beam people over range like you could before. It's kind of a pretty big nerf to the recoil as well. Like, yeah, it kind of evens out a little bit, but I would definitely say if you are not a fan of recoil, MP7 is not going to beam people as well. Still a great gun though. The P90 had a slight nerf. It has a little bit less torso multiplier as well as worse walking speed. This shouldn't actually affect the hits to kill at all. And overall, I would still say the P90 is a great option. I'd say it's probably better than the MP7 now, just because, oh my gosh, it's so loud. Now the Colt Mars now has better range and a torso multiplier. Before it was like, okay, it's a 405 hit, it has great handling, not really the best in terms of damage, but other than that, it's going to be, you know, just a really consistent and solid gun. Now it actually has really good damage too, because it can 3-hit kill to the body. Definitely the new meta. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is going to go toe-to-toe with basically every other meta assault rifle, because it's basically an assault rifle now. The hits to kill are really good. It's very accurate and everything like that. It's just a good gun. The L2A3 got a slight change, which is that it basically has half of the pen, but a slightly faster reload. I guess it's there, but yeah, this gun, it was terrible last update. They completely destroyed the muzzle velocity, and it's still not good. The Uzi got a big change. It now has a better headshot multi, a faster reload, better walk speed, better ranges, and better minimum damage. Now, this is a little bit more of a good buff to a gun. It's not really going to make this gun that good, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's still pretty mid, but at least it's not the L2A3 where it's like, oh, it reloads slightly faster. Now it is a 5-hit kill over range, which is really not too bad. And the headshot damage on the Uzi is pretty good. Nobody's really talking about the Uzi that much, but it's not a bad gun. It's still pretty good. The AUG 3 Para got a massive buff to its minimum damage range, which is honestly kind of crazy because with plus P, you have a 200 stud min range, which actually gives this a really good 5-hit kill. Like, really, really good. Like 180 stud 5-hit kill. Val Para Shorty got increased ranges, and the recoil is still awful, so they might need to fix that and not just give it a little bit more range. I would not really use this gun simply because the recoil is like this. Who wants to use this? Not me. Okay, so this is a pretty big change. The Chris Vector got some pretty massive nerf. So it has a little bit more minimum damage. However, the range is a bit worse. The main thing is going to be the recoil. It's actually high even with double yellow laser, so I can't even imagine what it's like without the double yellow laser. So please run that, and honestly maybe even run a recoil control muzzle if you really need to. Overall, this gun is still great by default. It's actually a little bit better in a way because of the better minimum damage, but then the range is worse, and overall it's a little bit of a nerf to the base ammo. But the main thing is not going to be the base ammo nerf. Honestly, this gun is still going to be amazing by base. However, the main changes are going to be with 22 as well as 357 SIG. Now, 22 said it didn't get a change from the fact that it's not red, but it did get a change. It has a 2.5 headshot multi instead of a 3 times headshot multi, which honestly, like, it's still pretty good. But yeah, it's not going to be super amazing now, which is kind of sad because 22 was actually good on this gun, which is very surprising to say. As you can see there, I now no longer can kill with 1 headshot and 1 body shot. Now it requires 2 headshots, which base ammo does, and you can be like, well, it's a low recoil. I guess that's true, but yeah, it's not that good. But then we have 357 SIG, which as you can see does 38 to 20 and has a terrible headshot multi now. This has gone from basically a 2-hit kill to the body to being 42 damage, which is still obviously very good, but not great considering the fact that it has a terrible headshot multi to the point where even though the base ammo and 22 can 2-shot headshot, this can't. In close range, this cannot 2-shot headshot, which is really unfortunate. I'd say, yeah, it's a very good 3-hit kill. It has a good 3-hit kill range, but now it's also going to be a 5-hit kill over range. I'd say it's still very balanced. They also made the reload speed worse. So overall, it's a pretty huge nerf to a conversion that, let's be real, it needed a pretty big nerf anyway. So it should be still good for the reload speed, but you're not going to be really using it for increased damage. In fact, it's kind of decreased damage now. The PP19 Bison got a massive change. They gave it better recoil, better damage by a little bit, better range, better reload, and yeah, it's actually pretty good. As you can see, it kind of has a pattern, and not gonna lie, that recoil is non-existent. And it's also going to be a 5-hit kill over range, and it does 35 up close now. Can't 2-shot headshot or anything, but it is a pretty good 3-hit kill range. Very accurate gun, as you can see, and it does 20 min, so it can 5-hit at range. Honestly, it's not bad. It's actually really good. The MP40 has a little bit better range and walk speed. Yeah, same thing as the L2A3. It's like, oh wow, it has a little bit more range. This needs more of a buff, dude. I guess this one's actually better than the L2A3. The Rama got a huge nerf. Now it does 33 damage instead of 34. Other than that, it really hasn't had any major changes, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it can't 3-hit kill anymore, which is a huge nerf. But let's be real, it shouldn't have 3-hit killed in the first place. So overall, it's still gonna be great. 80 rounds, shoots really fast, but now it's a 4-hit instead of a 3-hit. I think 80 rounds was good enough. It didn't need to also have a really good 3-hit kill range. They also did change the recoil a bit, and it does feel a lot worse, but it's really not that bad. Now on to the sniper rifles. Now there were even more sniper changes, as you can see, since I made my last video on the sniper changes. But basically, the first one is the intervention is now like one of the best snipers easily. It doesn't have as much pen, but it does have a better torso multiplier, 5 more RPM, and a faster reload. So now it has, instead of a 120 stud, oh, look at that reload as well. Instead of a 120 stud torso kill range, it now has a 159, which is the farthest the intervention has ever been able to one-shot, and it's also the fastest it's ever been able to fire. So yeah, this is a massive intervention buff. The intervention is going to be insane, but let's be real, there's a lot of really crazy changes to the snipers. I don't think this is necessarily going to be the best of them, which is pretty crazy to say, but this is the best intervention we've ever had. Quote-unquote buff to the 375 Shade Tac ammo. It now has a little bit more fire rate than it did before, but it only has a 116 stud one-tap range, which before it was 80, but it's like, okay, you're getting 5 RPM. Actually, right now in the test place, I hope they fix this, but in the test place, it's actually slower than the default intervention. So yeah, it's not going to be good. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you need a little bit more velocity, it's there, but other than that, it's like, dude, you're just getting 5 RPM in exchange for like 40 studs of torso kill range. So please use the default intervention. The Model 700, guys, they finally buffed it. It has a faster reload. That's it, guys. That's it. The Mosin has all the reworked stats we were talking about before, where now it can one-tap. However, they've made the one-tap range only from 70 to 120 studs, which is a lot better than it was before. I mean, like, balancing-wise, because before it could very easily one-tap. Now it only has a 50 stud one-tap range within 70 and 120 studs. This is really nice. I really like when they have a sweet spot mechanic on a sniper and it's like a really specific range, because this way you can actually run this gun really tactically and get those one taps, or you can just go for headshots and be good at the game. But I'm not good at the game, so I'm just going to be going for 70 to 120 stud one taps like this. The 8.5mm conversion now has higher RPM by, what is that, 21? You stupid. Sorry. It can actually shoot as fast as the base gun, and it still has the single loading, but it has a 120 stud one tap range. Obviously, it has really bad damage over range, but it can actually still one tap to the head at range, which the old one couldn't. So yeah, this is a huge buff to this as well. Is it really that great? I would say there are better snipers in my opinion, but this does shoot quick, and then it has a great one-tap torso as well. It just has a ton of downsides like terrible velocity, single loading, all that stuff. So I wouldn't really say it's for me, but if you just want to shoot fast and then one-tap people, it's honestly a really good sniper right now. The 410 bore ammo now actually has a good headshot multiplier as well as better spread. Yeah, it's still a shotgun that's on a bolt action sniper, so it's not really that good. And it actually has the default reload speed as well. Honestly, it's not that bad for a shotgun, I'm not gonna lie, as weird as it sounds. But the M1903 now has a better torso multiplier as well as 5 more RPM, and this is going to make the M1903 also really good. It has a 85 stud one tap to the torso range, which is great, because before it was 75, and a little bit more is good, especially with the RPM change. Honestly, this is a really good sniper now, easily the best overall sniper in the entire game. I definitely recommend it to pretty much anybody, because it just does everything really well. And if you run the Maxim silencer and AP, you also get a 103 stud torso kill range as well, which is pretty cool. Overall, I'm going to stick with the default because I don't really need a little bit more torso kill range. I'd prefer the bullet velocity. If you missed the K14 changes from the last update, basically the K14 lost a little bit of RPM, but then it also can one-shot to the torso a heck of a lot further, as well as the fact that it's no longer going to be a 3-tap over range, unless you're hitting like limb shots. But if you're hitting torso shots over range, it's not going to be the worst damage ever. And now the 5-round mag it's still decent. It's only really good for like reload speed and minimum damage, but now it fires the same speed and doesn't torso kill as far, which is really goofy. Then we have the M107 changes. Yeah, so the M107 no longer has a sweet spot mechanic. It can just one-shot to 250 studs. That's awesome. That's super fun. They also made the extended magazine viable. No longer is a terrible detriment to your reload speed and stuff. And overall, this is a 250 RPM one-shot gun. So I totally recommend you pre-buy it right now. They're probably going to nerf it again because it's really OP. It is really, really OP right now. The Scout actually got some pretty big changes as well. The default ammo is now capable of 2-tapping to the torso at all ranges. And it also got a little bit more fire rate and a faster reload. Again, default. Very, very fast gun. Pretty nice that this is getting a bit of a buff because there's a lot more torso killing, like viable snipers for that. So I'm glad that the headshot killing gun isn't going to get destroyed this update. It's even better than it was before. They also buffed the 376 Steyr ammo, which before was a really good ammo type. Now it's even better because they gave it more damage, more range, and more velocity and a faster reload. Now it can one-shot to 88 studs instead of 50. Yeah, oh my gosh, 349 headshot is crazy as well because it has a huge headshot multi. Oh my god. Torso kill range is really far and it has like 90 RPM. This is actually like a super OP weapon right now. And it's kind of sad because it's like, why would you even run the default? You know, before it was like, oh, well, you see, there are downsides because of the damage over range and stuff. But now it's like actually crazy how good this gun is. 5.56 now has 101 RPM instead of 100, and a little bit more muzzle velocity and stuff, but 5.56 is like, I mean, it's very fast. But yeah, I'd probably recommend the 376 Steyr, but obviously you gotta run this for the Farged, so this is a pretty big Farged buff this update, which is super awesome to see. I love when they buff the Farge. The G17 now has better range, a faster reload, and it now has a faster reload with the extended mag and much better recoil, as you can see. And we have M9, which also has basically the same treatment and now has better accuracy. The M1911 has a better headshot multiplier, better ranges, a little bit worse damage over range, and much worse muzzle velocity. But the 1911 is now, honestly, like, it was accurate before, but it's even more accurate now, and it does 80 headshot damage. The big problem is just the muzzle velocity, and you can't really run this gun over range as well. What the frick is going on, dude? But, wow, okay, dude, that headshot damage is great. This is actually such a good gun now. The M17, wow, everybody's favorite gun. It has better recoil. That's terrible. Just jumps to a random spot on your screen. Desert Eagle L5 now has better recoil and a faster reload. Wow, you can spam this. Wait, that's crazy. That's actually really good. The G21, it went from 42 to 44 damage. It has better min range and it has a faster reload. It does do a little bit less damage over ranges and it has less of a headshot and torso multiplier. But then we gotta get to the G50 specifically because the G-switch attachment, it's on all of the Glocks, but let's be real, it's only really good on this one. Basically what the G-switch does now is it locks your gun to 1000 RPM. The second you click, you shoot the whole mag in one go. You cannot change off of anything, but a nice thing that does is you can actually move at full speed while you're shooting, which is like the only gun in the whole game that can do that. And the only change you have here is 1000 RPM, locked shooting, and more recoil. Your gun has no downsides to damage or range or anything like that. So yes, you can still one-tap people with this gun. With 1000 RPM, you can still one-tap people, which makes this one in particular insane. However, I would not say any of the other ones are really that good because they have a bigger magazine. And since you have to fire your whole mag in one go, it's kind of just better to have, you know, 9 bullets instead of like 20 bullets and shoot all of those at once. Put on the G switch and look, that is so unnecessary, but as you can see, like, you can actually move around at full speed while full autoing, which is pretty cool. The G40 has much better recoil. It now does more damage and has a faster reload speed. It has a little bit less range and velocity. The G40 is actually insane now because it's a 3-hit kill and 2-shot headshot down to a 4-hit kill at range. And now it's actually just always a 3-hit. Before you had to hit some torso shots. The G50 had a huge buff for whatever reason. It now can one-shot a lot farther, has a faster reload, and it walks faster. Yeah, this was literally only so we could troll with 99 from there. Yeah, basically it can one-shot a lot farther. I'm gonna be enjoying it because I think G50 G-switch is gonna be my new main secondary because it's kind of just a free kill. Like, I don't think you can really expect to not get the kill every single time you fire this weapon. It can 2-hit kill people to the body. It can 1-shot to the head. It has 1000 RPM. It's so good, dude. So the 5.7 now has better recoil. That's kind of the only thing with it, but better recoil. Already was a really accurate gun. It's a pistol that I have an insane number of kills on. I have like 400 kills on it because it's a really good overall consistent pistol, but you have to click really fast with it. The Zip 22 has a faster reload, but that's it. The GIM1 got a massive buff, has better range, it has a faster reload time, and it has a lot lower recoil. As you can see, it's actually really accurate. Really accurate, what? But it has really bad muzzle velocity. I'd still say this is good because this gun is kind of more for close range anyway. And if you want a more consistent 2-tap gun, this is going to be really good. The problem is I think the headshot kill range on the G50 is better now, which is like the G50 should not be the farther killing one. I thought this was supposed to be like the slower, higher recoil, but better damage. Still a great gun, obviously. I think both of them are really good, but I definitely... Oh my gosh, this goes so crazy though. Eagle had a big change, bit worse velocity, and it has a faster reload by a little bit. And as you can see, the recoil is lower. What? Why are they buffing this gun? I don't know, because now you can actually like spam it. I guess they were like, you know, the G50 with the switch is going to be really good, so we'll make the already best secondary even better. It doesn't make any sense, but now any of the kind of nuance of like you can't spam this gun is just gone because now you can actually spam this gun and it can one-shot people to the body. So what's even the point of using anything else? I don't know, dude. Grizzly has a little bit better min damage as well as a better minimum damage range. So now it can actually one-shot to the head about 40 studs further, which gives it a really, really good one-tap head range of 172 studs, which is actually really good, not gonna lie. This one is going to be interesting. I don't think it's really that good, but if you do want the ability to universally 2-tap torso and headshot kill really far, this is kind of like usable over range XIX. It kind of has some of those old XIX stats with the 2-tap to the torso at all ranges, which makes it better than like every DMR in the game. Not gonna lie, because most of them can't 2-tap to the torso. Alien has a faster reload. The AF 2011 has a faster reload. This is more violent recoil. Oh wait, no, that's way more accurate. That's super accurate. Wait, it It can one tap with hollow point. Nice. It can one tap to the limbs with hollow point. This is this actually might be really good. New meta discovered. No, okay, dude. The G18C, the first machine pistol in this list that I gotta change, has terrible recoil. Yeah, I don't know. The 93R got a pretty big bump. It has a faster reload as well as really good recoil. The MP412 Rex changes, which it now has a new model, which actually has a rotating cylinder. Oh, wait a minute. That's sick. It sucks because every single time you load all 6, but oh my gosh, that is sick. Okay, it has better range, a faster reload, and better muzzle velocity. It can one tap to the head to 100 stuns, which is not too bad. Oh my gosh, we might have to go over all the new Rex stuff. Maybe I'll save it for a different video. The 1858 New Army has a faster reload, a little bit more RPM, but it can no longer 2-hit kill to the torso at all ranges. As you can see, honestly, the recoil also feels a lot more smooth, and I really like that. They actually changed the Semtex grenade. It now one taps to 26 studs instead of 32. Now on to the movement changes. Now these are pretty big. First thing that changed is, of course, now there are keybinds. You can now rebind keys, which is really great. I might make a video about those. I'm not too sure yet. But yeah, if you'd like to rebind some of your keys, the one I really recommend, and it's kind of the only one that I super recommend, is binding jump no vault to space, and then binding space to nothing basically, and then bind vault to something random that you can maybe get access to. It doesn't really matter that much. I'll put on like Y. Vaulting is still important for like movement tech. But now basically I can just jump on things without vaulting, which is really great because honestly you don't really need vaulting. There is one thing for movement tech, and I might have to make a new movement guide video, not gonna lie. There's also a grenade indicator. I don't know if it shows up for your own grenades. Yes, it does. Look at that. You can see it outside of your screen. There's also damage numbers. You can turn these on or off. Yellow for limb hits, orange for torso hits, and red for headshots. They also made the respawn timer a lot faster. Now, they have completely changed a lot of the movement, and if you want a slight buff to your movement, you can run stamina. Yeah, you can turn this on now, which I think is honestly not a bad thing, not gonna lie, because that way people that don't want it don't have to use it. And as you can see in the bottom of my screen, I have the stamina here, and it actually gives you a little bit of a buff to your movement. It's not like a massive buff or anything. It's like probably 5 to 10% overall. I personally would not turn it on, so that way I can actually just keep doing movement, because if you run out of stamina, your movement is not as good and you can't do a lot of, you know, not even advanced movement, just you can't really slide that fast or do anything like normal like that. But the main stuff here is the jump height is reduced, but the gravity is also reduced. So you jump about the same height, and as you can see, like, the gravity feels super weird, and honestly fine. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm starting to get used to it, and it's not that bad. I just don't know why they had to reduce the gravity. I don't know if Phantom Forces is set on a different planet now or something. The vault cooldown is now lower as well, so you can vault a lot faster. You can vault like multiple things in a row. Now you can slide mid-air. Pretty crazy. You can only do it for the first half of a second you're in the air, but as you can see, you can jump and then slide, and then come out of your slide and land in a Zingus, which is pretty crazy. Emp slide is still definitely a super viable thing you can do, but you can also do essentially a jump slide every single time, because they've also made Zingus sliding, standing sliding, jump sliding, emp sliding, all that stuff really, really easy. Like, all of it is super, super easy now because it's not frame perfect anymore. If you're not good, if you're a noob and you're not like me, because I'm cracked at the movement, but if you're not cool like me, and you can't do frame perfect movement tag, now it's actually got a pretty easy window to do it from, which is pretty cool. Like, this looks like it's very difficult to do, and before, doing this many jump slides in a row would be very, very difficult for pretty much anybody, but now it's very easy. I can do it pretty much every single time. Pretty interesting. It kind of removes a little bit of the skill and the timing from it, but it makes it also kind of less like RNG reliant. So I might have to make a new movement guide just to talk about all this stuff, because there's also a lot of really weird new stuff. And then the final thing is, of course, the wall running. If you slide against a wall, you will do a wall run. The main thing that I like to do is you can now jump into a prone like this, and if you're using a really fast mobility weapon, like, it is really, really hard to kill you doing this. 1,000 likes and I'll do a movement guide. Think about that. Yeah, that guy just did the thing that I just showed off. But anyways, gamers, that's gonna do it for this video. I'll probably talk about the new Rex in a different video. So close to 100,000 subs, and I'll do face reveal.